What's happening, everybody? We sitting here. We
Hey
here
y'all.
with Santee and Tony Diversity. Diversity Shoot. So we're here finna chop it up. This is the series of me and Santee going to go ahead and start up and gonna have going every Wednesday and Thursday. We're gonna sit back and just chop it up with everybody. So yeah, that's the whole goal of this. To have a conversation going, have a meeting of the mind, so to speak. And you go and tell all. Well, let's see, we got a few people on here. Let's go ahead and tell people about yourself, Santi.
Oh, I'm Santee TV. You can
Man,
find me at
I'm
Santee
country.
TV.
I got
Okay,
you.
and
I
I'm
say
country.
Santi.
You can find me on Instagram at theSanteeTv. You can find me on YouTube mostly at Santee TV. We're gonna be here Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Central, and we're gonna be there Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central. Here Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central. Um, and today we have Mr. Tony Simon, who is the founder, right, of Diversity Shoot.
Yes, I'm the founder of Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot.
Second is for everyone, Diversity Shoot. Now, real quick, Diversity Shoot is the website, and then you have a podcast also, right? Which
Yep,
is
the
2A for everyone.
2A4E. Yep, 2A4E podcast or the Second is for Everyone podcast
Nice,
on
nice.
your favorite podcast app.
Okay. You have a whole bunch of sayings you be saying. I like them. But let me calm down. Let me not jump the gun. That's a saying. Don't jump the gun.
All right, yeah.
Let me
What
write
it
that down.
is, what we do is important. But sometimes, man, we get caught up in the seriousness of it, and everybody and it's like, yo, bruh, this is an important right. Second Amendment is very important right. Firearms safety, firearms use, firearms fundamentals, all of that is important. But when you stone face it to everybody, it, 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 it's like schoolwork, bro. It's like, no, let's
Yeah.
have some fun. Let's get some personality in this. I totally understand it's a serious subject. I totally understand the racist history of gun control is very serious.
Hmm.
But let's not make this a dry history class. Let's not make this a dry firearm safety class. Not like that's what I'm saying. So let's get some personality involved because if I want just boring, I'll go to an NRA meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, it's just boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started this up because always been into firearms. I'm from Virginia. I was born and raised in the country. Everybody talking about their country, yeah, that's where I'm from.
Hmm.
So we grew up with firearms. So it was no big deal to me. I competed in high school on the air rifle team in high school. You know, we shot guns in school. We grew up hunting. So I joined the Corps. We did that. I got out. I came to Jersey. And that's when I found out how stupid the laws up here were because I legally bought guns in Virginia. But when I got up here, it was like, oh, you can't carry them. The way you have to transport them a certain way, unload it, separate it. I'm like, what? Don't y'all know? Like, y'all have all kinds of crime there. How do I get to my gun if it's in the trunk? You
Hmm.
know? Well, how do I get a carry permit? Pretty much you don't. They have 1 million gun owners in Jersey, and they have about 1,500 carry permits.
No way. Say that again.
1 million gun owners, 1,500 carry permits, and you got to know somebody. And
Mm.
Can I just ask this question real quick?
Go ahead.
How many of those people are women? Do you know? Like
No, believe me,
1,500?
they're gonna be people that are well connected with money. Um, that's the only
Wow.
people that are gonna be there.
Oh,
So
okay.
it
So
is
it's
what it is.
it's all about your pocketbook then.
It's
That's
all
what.
Wow.
about the pocketbook, bro.
Mhm.
So in 2012, I decided I wanted to be a firearms instructor. I bought some stuff legally. I got my firearms ID card. I bought a Ruger 10/22, and I just wanted to get my fundamentals back because again, I shot in competition. You know, it's precision shooting with air rifles at 10 meters. I mean,
Mhm.
the bullseye is the size of a pencil eraser when you're looking at it straight on. That's how
Mhm.
small the bullseye is. And I enjoyed that because it was the breathing. It was almost zen. It was like breathing exercises with firearms.
Yes, sir.
So so I bought the Ruger 10/22. I took it to the range and I sucked, bro. I sucked. I mean, my group was like this. Wait a minute, this. It was a pizza box. I don't even call a group. It's not even called a group.
Yeah.
So my boy had just became an instructor, NRA certified rifle, pistol, and shotgun instructor. But he's trying to fill classes. So I'm like, I'll take a class. Friday I went to the range and I shot that group. Sunday I took his class. Monday I went back to the range and my group 10 rounds fit the size of a postage stamp at 15 yards.
Oh wow. Wow.
And I was like,
Dramatic improvement. I got you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like all holes touching postage stamp. And I was like, I want somebody to feel like I feel right now. So I went and gun for hire range in Woodland Park. If you're from Jersey, you know it is one of the biggest ranges in the country. And actually, it is going to be the biggest indoor range once they finish their expansion in America.
Oh, wow.
So I went there and I got my rifle, pistol, shotgun, and range safety officer certifications. This is in 2012. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go and be an instructor. Sandy Hook happened. Derailed everything, right? I mean, they were trying to pass every law there was. They were trying to ban everything semi-automatic in Jersey. It got stupid. And that's when me and my partner that helped me start this thing, Sean, wrote our first letter. Because I just got on Facebook just to talk to some of my boys who used to be in the Corps, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
I had no following at all. But we took a day to write this letter. We figured out how to write it without, saying dumb, cold, dead hand, 1776, my right. No, we talked about how it affects us, how it affects the individual, how the ability to protect those you love with a firearm is being infringed upon. And the shooting that happened at Sandy Hook was an anomaly and something that could have been prevented, but wasn't by law enforcement prior to it happening. Yes. And it had nothing to do with us. And we wrote this letter, and then I took pictures of it, and I went online, and I went to every firearms group, and I posted the thing and said, look, I don't care where you live. You have to get politically active. You have to write letters. You have to make phone calls. Use this, copy and paste it. I don't care. Use it as a script. Use it as a format. But write and be part of the political process. And that's how we started. And it blew up. I mean, I'm talking people, 15,000 shares or something like that. So again, I had like 24 friends on Facebook. So that was a lot of shares.
Yeah.
And I went and testified in front of the assembly. I was nervous. I took the day off. I wrote a speech. I couldn't tell you what I said today. I was that nervous, man. And I was the only black dude there, right? I'm the only black dude in the room.
You just answered the call. Yes, sir.
Hey, walk up. I won't running around going, hey, I'm going to be the next Martin Luther King Jr. I was like, no, these people work for me, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and they're going to listen. So I said the speech. I got some applause, I think. If it was not for somebody being there videotaping me, you can find it on my YouTube page, Simon Says Train. I have no idea what I said right now. But I was nervous. So I left there, and this was time going on. And I think that was in 2014 because they were pushing something or around about the end of the year. Yes, 2014. February, I'm talking to my boy, and we always try to motivate each other. And whenever he wanted to do something, I'm saying, you going to talk about it or be about it? So I was talking to him, and I was like,
you his motivation.
I said, somebody needs to do something to get people of color to participate in the political process. I'm like, because the Democrats are running around acting as if they're speaking for us, and they're not. You're not speaking for me when you're trying to get rid of my rights. I don't give a damn what party you in.
I'm like, me and Santee was just talking. We was literally just having this conversation, because I was asking her, I was like, do you let your 2A rights influence your vote? And if so, I know black people generally vote Democratic. So how do you vote if you are steadfast, gun, like me, I have numerous AKs, so what do you do?
In my opinion, it ain't about the voting because, okay, Your vote counts, but your vote only counts as the most uninformed voter that votes against your vote. You're going to have to do more than just vote. You're going to have to advocate. That's where
Yeah.
it comes in. You're going to have to talk to your Democratic lawmaker and go, Second Amendment needs to be apolitical. You need to leave it alone.
They're
If you
not
keep voting for that, I'm going to find somebody to vote against you. I might not vote Republican, but I'll look for a Democrat that won't touch my 2A because you have primaries.
Yeah.
I see what
Primaries,
you're
you can pick
saying.
somebody.
Excuse me, I see what you're saying.
I was telling Santee that, you know, the Libertarian Party, we might need to, since the black vote is so precious, maybe we need to go take over the Libertarian Party. Yeah, and you know, make that
We have to use every party.
yes.
We don't have to listen. Don't be married to a party because the party don't give a care about you.
We said that too. We talked about
Party
that
don't
too.
care about you.
So what you're saying is, I'm sorry for cutting you off real quick, but what you're saying is, when you were talking about earlier, it's not about just voting. It's about when you advocate for what you believe in. So you can have a Republican that's against 2A, doubt it, but you can have a Democrat that's against 2A, even though they are. If you put enough pressure on them, then they'll back up. That's what you're saying. They'll back up from that if you let them know what you're standing for and what you got them in there for.
And you also got to donate. I was talking to one of my supporters, and they were like, "Put a little money in the envelope. You make that phone call. Put a little money in the envelope."
Huh?
Hey, listen, you're dealing with politicians. Their opinion is bought and sold. So, yeah. Hey, listen, it's $20. Doesn't have to go to you. It can go to the other guy. I can talk about the other guy. And it could be the other Democrat that's running against the Democrat. It could be the other Republican that's running against the Republican. And we got to be seen. We're not seen as pro-gun. We're not seen as people that handle theirs. And I'm like, my mom used a firearm to defend her family when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? My aunt, back in the day, used a gun to defend us because we're, again, born and raised in Virginia. People get a little, it wasn't always nice. You know what I'm saying?
True. Are you familiar with the Mulford Act of 1967?
Yeah, people love talking about that.
What is that?
The Mulford Act happened in California, and it happened after the Black Panthers marched on Sacramento, open carrying, because the Black Panthers would assemble because it was legal to open carry in California. So the Black Panthers would assemble whenever there was a call in the neighborhood to some black people. The cops would show up, well, the Panthers would show up, and they'd be armed.
Yes.
Well, all of a sudden, Democrats and Republicans alike had a problem with that because, again, never trust any party. A Republican wrote the bill, Mulford, and it was 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats that sponsored the bill. The bill passed. Ronald Reagan signed it.
Governor Reagan at the time.
And Governor Reagan at the time signed it, and the NRA supported it. So people love to talk about how the NRA was racist because they supported the bill because it was only brought about because black people carried firearms. What they negate to understand is the NRA was not really political until the 1970s. So this bill passed in the late 60s. Well, believe me, the NRA still supported it, but they weren't political. They weren't fighting for the Second Amendment then. And they'd also done some stuff to help black people out. If you want to read about Robert E. Williams and what the NRA did to him, and actually gave him an NRA chapter so he could buy firearms and he could buy ammo at a discount. And that happened well before that. That happened a decade early.
Yeah.
But what bothers me is this. They go, see, the Republican Party can't be trusted. I'm like, you ever look up the Mulford Act? See how it was voted on? Majority of Democrats voted for it. It was 100% of the Democrats voted for it, but enough of the Republicans voted for it that it passed too. So again, trust no party.
Trust no
party.
Let me ask you this. I know a lot of the times when they bring up NRA, you know, and how the NRA is supposed to help us, but when, like, say Fidel Castro, when he got killed, silence, you know. So how do we, you know, figure out what group is there for us?
Okay. Philando Castillo, when he got killed, the NRA shut up.
Yes, they did.
And the problem with not understanding the NRA is for the NRA.
Yeah.
All right. When groups get so big, they have different preferences. They have different agendas than you do. That's why when people talk about, oh, we need a pro 2A Bloomberg billionaire, I'm like, no, we don't, because his marching orders might not be ours.
Exactly.
He's doing it for different reasons. No, so what we need to do as individuals, regardless of your color, regardless of your race, whatever, is local 2A.
Yeah.
That's who you support. Like you see something I'm doing and you like the work I do because I'm small. I'm me. You know what I'm saying? I'm me and my people that help me out. You donate to us. You donate to your local dude because you go to that meeting and you see where the money goes. When you donate to the big NRA, that money is gone, bro. And now you're hearing about dude owning $50,000 suits and whatnot, and you mad. Yeah, your $35 could have went to your local thing. Here in Jersey, we have CNJFO, ANJRPC, and NJ2AS. Well, all of those you can join for less than $40 a year. And what do? Right now? They got cases in front of the Supreme Court. So you know where your money going in Jersey.
Yeah.
It's actually fighting cases in the Supreme Court. So that's why it's more important to go local.
Yeah, we have a group like that out where I live at is the Buffalo Soldiers. And I agree completely. I agree completely.
Put your money where you see it and where you know, hey, I know that dude because he helped found the group. Now, is this the Buffalo Soldiers in Maryland, Northern Virginia?
Oh no, I'm in Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, South Atlanta.
Yeah.
Can you give us those? You said the CNJFO, is that New Jersey?
Yep. CNJFO.
And what's the other two?
ANJRPC.
NJ. Okay.
And NJ2AS.
Well,
like I know them all. I know them all because I work with them all. CNJFO comes to my event and they've helped me out from the very beginning. I've invited these groups to my events so they can introduce themselves to the people. When we started this up, like I said, I started this up 2015, right? And it's funny, it's February 2015. I started this 2A4E. Mai started Black Guns Matter, and Phil Smith started NAGA, all in the same month. How crazy is that? Like all of us, obviously separately, in February of 2015, once enough's enough, we got to do something. We have to educate our people.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
When you and Sean were writing the letter, what specifically happened in order for you to write that letter? Like what was going on?
They had 76 anti-gun bills in Jersey. They had 76. And they were everything from limited amount of ammo you could have to if you ordered over 200 rounds of ammo at a time, they would put you on a list with the state police.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, they were raising like 200 rounds, bro. 200 rounds is not even my class. It's not my basic class.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was raising the fees. It was limiting the magazine capacity to 10 from 15. It was all of that. This is a war. This is 100% a war against your rights. And when people say things like, well, the Democrats have never taken away your rights, it's like you're speaking from a position of ignorance because you don't know what it used to be. What it used to be was this. In 1935, if you had money and a Sears catalog, you can have a gun dropped off at your front door.
Yes, you could.
And if you had enough money, you could have a belt-fed, water-cooled machine gun dropped off at your front door with all the ammo. It didn't have to go through a sheriff. It didn't have to go through a background check. And that's what your right's supposed to be. There should be no infringement. When people say, well, what stopped the school shootings? I'm like, well, obviously laws don't stop school shootings because we didn't have them then, but we have them now.
Yeah.
And they still doing it.
I'm like, we have a bunch of other problems.
Laws don't stop crazy.
Laws don't stop crazy. And we have a bunch of other problems that nobody wants to deal with because they're generational. They're created by the government many times or ignored by the government and allowed to happen. So, and nobody can get credit for it because let's be honest, 65% of gun deaths, because I hate the term, but whatever, it's the one that's used, is suicide. It's suicide.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
You ain't fixing that with a law. The other another 30% is criminal upon criminal violence. So that's 95% of the problem of things you're not going to solve with a law.
Yeah.
Now we get down to the last 5. And the last 5 is shootings that needed to happen because there were people like us defending ourselves. Shootings when the police shot somebody, accidental shootings, and then the rare smallest number of all, mass shootings. That's like 1%. So don't tell me we need to change all the laws over 1% of the shootings. And you ignore 99% and you don't want to solve that 99%. Well, that 99% affects all of us. That 99% affects me when I lived in Trenton. You know what I'm saying? When I lived in New Brunswick and we had some issues and I had to use a firearm or grab a firearm just in case things went sideways.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's like, what do you feel is the best way to get the word out there to people, to exercise your rights or protect your rights? Because a lot of people they think that the Democrat this, Democrat that. My mama voted Democrat, my grandma voted Democrat. The way to go because everybody else hate us, and that's how they think. And not that I'm trying to just down Democrats or anything like that, but they are the ones that are basically just pushing the gun control agenda and trying to take every gun that we have away from us. So
we have to have conversations. We have to talk to people without turning into a fight. And it's sad because people are going to have to look like the people we're talking to. Because it shuts down. That's why I had the diversity shoot. That's why I wanted all people to come to my events, because you're going to have people from every background. And what you need to do is have this conversation. So you can't tell the joke that, hey, if every black person got a concealed carry permit, the Republicans would be for gun control. Okay, that's a funny joke, but here's the thing. The Democrats are for gun control. Are they racist? Because you're trying to imply the Republicans would be racist if every black person bought a gun. The Democrats are for gun control, have always been for gun control, and they pushed it from the very beginning. So that's one thing you have to get out there. 2, no political party loves you. No political party loves you. You got to make them all work for you and earn your vote. It's going to take more than just sitting around talking about it. Think about the energy you're putting into politics right now to get what you want and what you believe in. If it's 0, then where would you have been when Martin Luther King marched on Selma? You'd have sitting on your ass making up excuses. That's where you'd have been. You'd be where you are right now. If you're not participating in the process, then you're doing nothing. This is a civil right. This is the latest civil rights fight. You're doing nothing. Now, here's something that I had to explain to a few people. I'm the first generation of black man born in this country with all the same rights as a white man. 1968, the oldest black man born in America with the same right, born with the same right, is 54 years old. So this civil rights struggle is still going on.
Yes, it is.
And it won't forever go. So it's still alive. We have to participate. If we don't participate, people ignore us. You can't complain about other minorities getting what they're due if you're doing nothing. Because they've taken your vote for granted. So why should they do anything for you?
Well, a lot of people, I know I look at the things that are being taught to my children. They're trying to erase a lot of what's happened in this world away from being taught in school, away from that, because it's like, get over it. Just get over it.
It was long ago. It was long ago.
So long ago. You know what I'm saying? But my dad is 73, and he has told me some stories. So I mean, it's like it was not that long ago. It was not.
There's a reason. There's a reason they show civil rights leaders in nothing but black and white photos. Again, color photos, 1941. You know what I'm saying? Not Gone with the Wind. The Wizard of Oz. 1941. That was color. How come anytime they talk about the black civil rights struggle in 1968, you ain't seeing none but black and white photos? Because they want to make it seem like a long time ago. Martin Luther King Jr., Anne Frank, and Barbara Walters were all born in the same year.
Good night.
Mhm.
Don't let them trick you into talking about how long ago this was, because it wasn't.
Well, I would like to say this. I know you were saying that one thing that you were very big on is diversity. And I would like to say, it's not all people. And a lot of the times it'll be the people that you think is just dead up on your side that'll do you the worst.
Oh,
And it's because you got to
say
look
that.
deeper and see what people's agenda really is. And it's like like I'm not one of those people out here that just hate white folks. I got great white friends. You know what I mean? And it's like I share just well I spend a lot of time with them, and they a lot of people just it was just completely uninformed. It's all the way uninformed. So it's crazy to me. It's almost like I was talking to Sandy about this earlier about how CNN is starting to crumble. It seems like everything that's going on with them is just starting to just fall apart. It is like they were the ones that everybody look at. Like CNN is not biased. CNN is this, but
Right. CNN is everything. That's where I get my news. The only place where I get my news. Let me stop before I offend somebody.
See, here's what my dad taught me. Because my dad was one of those dudes. He went to college later in life, so he got introduced to critical thinking later, but enough that he had wanted us to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because my brother and I were like 10, 12 years old. He was like, "This is what we're gonna do. You're gonna listen to the news.
yes,
You're gonna listen to the news on all three channels. Now, tell me what you're seeing." He said, "Now you're gonna listen to the news on the radio. You're gonna listen to Radio Cuba, Radio Moscow, and the Voice of
yeah,
America.
Excuse me.
You're going to hear the same top stories, but you're going to see how it's slanted." And
exactly.
that introduced me to that at an early age. And that's what
Hmm.
we need to learn. You need to learn to critically think. You need to understand that all communication is manipulation. So
Uh-huh.
when you're watching the news, they have an agenda and you need to learn it. When they're
Yes,
telling you that you don't need a firearm, but at the same time, they're telling you the police aren't coming out for certain crimes and that they're not prosecuting carjackers,
yeah,
then who's going
yeah.
to save you?
Mm.
Now, when you learn the history, understand, I only found out about this because I just want to shoot guns and do hood rat stuff with my friends. Y'all made me care about this. You know what I'm saying? By trying to ban what I'm doing. I just want to hang out with my boys.
Yeah,
So as I'm doing this, I'm learning more. And I'm learning that, oh, Supreme Court, uh, was it Wagner versus DC or Warner versus DC? I forget which one it was because I messed up. Hold on. Anyway, that's the name of it. Google it. And when they found out that the police, it's not the police job to save you as an individual. They have Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, I think is another one. And these
uh-huh.
are all Supreme Court cases where the individual called the police for assistance and the police didn't help. And these people either died or were sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court was like, yeah, it's not the police thing.
Well, just like melanated high priestess just said, I saw the report where the police said, "Hey, we might not be able to make it out there to do anything for you.
Yep.
You on your own." You know what I mean?
And the funny
And
thing is, when you're talking to people, individuals, when you talk about that happened in 2020 and 2021, they go, what happened in 20? I'm like, wait a minute, you can't remember when the police said they weren't coming out because of COVID restrictions? You don't
Exactly.
remember that when crime went up? You don't remember break-ins? You don't remember the Kyle Rittenhouse? Yeah, I remember Kyle Rittenhouse. Well, that was just one of many small businesses and people that were taking advantage of it, talking about they're helping black people out. You ain't helping black people by burning our neighborhood.
What
All
was your
right.
thoughts? What was your thoughts on that Kyle Rittenhouse situation?
All right. My thoughts on the Kyle Rittenhouse, if you look at the facts, it was a self-defense thing. Now, it was 100% self-defense. There was no other call to make. I called it from the very beginning, and I refused to talk about it anymore because it didn't make any sense to talk about it until the trial was over.
Hmm.
Now, when it comes to individual firearms, this is something I tell people. If you think you need to take a gun to go there, don't go there.
Don't go there.
All right? Don't
Yeah,
go there.
simple.
Because this whole thing right here calls this boy, one, his name, regardless of where you step on this dude's name is done. The other thing is it costs about $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
I bet if you'd have told Kyle Rittenhouse, hey dog, here's a
Yeah,
newspaper 2 years from now. You still want to go? He'd have been at his house. He'd have been at his house eating popcorn, watch Kenosha burn.
yeah, yeah.
Don't just because you have a gun, don't doesn't mean it makes you safe. Doesn't mean people are going to be afraid of it, and it can get you in a whole lot of trouble.
Oh yeah.
That's way out of proportion of what you thought you were going to help. So
Mm-hmm.
no, a firearm is not the answer to everything. And the sad part is this: many gun owners think a gun is going to fix things. But the problem is when you get a gun, it's like getting a hammer. Once you get a hammer, you got to hit stuff with it.
Mm.
This is every dude. But when you own a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
to
that's what
some
happens with
people,
firearms.
you never lied on that one. You
You
are
got to think
absolutely
your way
right,
through
man.
this. You got to
Mhm.
think your way through this. Now,
Yeah.
again, that boy was 17 years old and had a lot of adults influence him that should have known better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, and I will say this, I tell people all the time, a gun does not make you Superman. A gun does not make you a deputy either. If you see something going on, you are not obligated to jump into a third party encounter. Like I
Right.
Right.
was telling Santee yesterday, sometimes that's how he showed that he loved her by knocking her upside her head because she
Mm.
just as soon as shoot you for messing with him. So it's like,
Yeah.
you can't
It
just.
sucks, man. Look, I have a horrible memory. One of the firearms instructor said this, and if I knew who it was, I would tell you. But he said, so you're in a convenience store picking up your coffee first thing in the morning, right? Girl behind the counter, you know her. You say hi to her every morning, how your kids, but that's all your conversation really is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Would you give her $25,000 just out of your bank account right now? Would you put your house up and give her $25,000? Well, okay. The answer is no, right? Most people won't. I just say hey to this woman. I don't know her that well. Well, a whole lot of gun owners will go, yeah, but if I saw somebody robbing her, I'd pull my gun out and smoke that fool. Well, guess how much your retainer for your lawyer is going to be?
Mhm.
So now,
Man, then I need to stay in my house and not be trying to help my
you
neighbor
don't
who
know
getting
her.
their head knocked in.
You don't know her. And I'm not even saying it's right or wrong if you think you're
Uh-huh.
saving this woman's life, but understand
Mhm.
what it's going to cost you financially alone.
Mhm.
That's
You
also
right.
another reason you need to get that self defense insurance. But the anti gun people call it murder insurance because
Well,
they want to paint it negatively. It's
we
not
got
murder insurance.
Tag Bruiser right here. He was saying, with all the bull going on, what do we suggest that he do? What do you do?
In what way? About?
Well, like a lot of places have a lot of people have gone and bought guns, and a lot of people have acquired guns, and a lot of people are probably acting foolish with these guns. So do you just sit back, play the background, or do you assert yourself? I mean, what are your
All right, this is
uh,
what you do. This is what I tell everybody to do mentally if you're ready for this. Because if you ain't, you know you. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? You know you. So if you that dude that can't keep your temper, that woman that can't keep your temper, or the first thing out of your wife's mouth is, "I wish a motherfucker would,"
mhm.
you this might not be for you.
Take a sip if that's what y'all be saying.
so, so hold on a
take,
second.
take a sip.
Let me stop. That's a
Um,
good question.
but
What you?
if if that's you, this doesn't need to be for you. But if you love your family and you
Hmm.
want to have a way to protect them, a distant weapon to protect them, yes, get educated, buy yourself a firearm, take a
Mhm.
class, take
Hmm.
more than one class. The more classes you take, the more you're gonna learn. So take the fundamentals class.
Yeah.
Take a defensive firearms class. And it's not, again, this firearm insurances, they give you a lot of information. I'm a U.S. Law Shield dude because that's all we could have in Jersey legally. but they also have USPCA. They have a lot of other ones. Look into it because they usually tell you things like what deadly force laws are in your state. You're gonna have to educate yourself. This ain't gonna be buy a thing and if something happens, you're good.
Yeah.
Because things can go sideways. Like that happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. That happened with what's that other a-hole? George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Again, these shoots were totally legal that these dudes did. But do you think if they knew what was going to happen, they still do what they did? No, you need to learn the law and understand it. It could all go sideways. So,
and the George Zimmerman thing is one thing that I'm talking about. Yeah, how you gonna jump out and start following somebody just because
exactly.
you got a gun?
Exactly.
You know,
If he didn't have that gun, he wouldn't have got out of the car.
Yeah, exactly. He would not have gotten out the car if he didn't have the gun. So
And that was a hammer thing. That was a hammer thing. He had a hammer. Every problem was a nail. He was a big brave dog because he was strapped. If he didn't have that little Kel-Tec on him, he would have stayed in the car talking to the police. So he put himself in a situation where he took a man's life, and now he will not have a moment of peace as long as he lives. Congratulations.
He will not.
You wanted to be a gunfighter. Now you got to live that gunfighter life.
Hmm.
So, yes, that's why you need to learn the law. And also, when you take a class, like when we hosted our defensive classes, we told you what was going to happen. Every time, look, just because you shoot somebody and you were the hero, doesn't mean your family going to see it like that. Doesn't mean your coworkers going to see it like that. Doesn't mean the people at your church going to see it like that. You know what I'm saying? So even if you don't go to jail, you get cleared. There are people that still think you're a murderer.
Let me take it a little bit deeper. It don't mean your conscience is gonna work like that either.
That's true.
You might see that life leaving that body in your dreams. So it's like you got to think about stuff like that.
Now, one of the podcasts I do is self-defense gun stories. All right, so it's 4 self-defense stories every week. Self-defense gun stories on the Self-Defense Radio Network, and they talk about people getting shot. You know what I'm saying? Like grandmother, grandfather at home. Somebody knocks on the door. They open it. Somebody pushes the door in. They're beating the grandfather. He tells the grandmother, go get the gun. She runs to the bedroom. Well, dude, pissed off granddad, starts beating on grandma by the time she gets to the bedroom. He's whooping this 70-something-year-old woman. Granddad gets in there, grabs the revolver, put all 6 in it. Calls 911. 911 comes. Dude broke in the house in critical condition. Grandma in critical condition. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't go down like you thought it was going to go down. It wasn't that, the whistle sounds and you stick the cigar in the corner of your mouth and wink like Clint Eastwood. No, it didn't turn out like that. It was floppy.
Yeah,
you could have that person in your living room dying for 20 minutes, praying, crying,
screaming,
pooping himself in your living room, bleeding all over the place. Now you got to call Serve Pro. You got to get that all cleaned up.
We don't want to trigger nobody.
I'm just saying, man, you got to call, Rent-A-Center and tell them that you shot the TV.
Yeah.
You ready for the Super Bowl to flex on your friends? Yeah, I know people that do that. Well, how you got a TV in the bathroom, dude? You went to Rent-A-Center to put the TV in the toilet so people can use the bathroom and not miss the Super Bowl.
Man,
I ain't that much of a friend, dog.
Well, I will say this. We got a lot of things that people need to learn, and it's just it's all about getting education. It's all about getting yourself educated, getting yourself to where
when you buy your first gun, you're gonna want to buy your second gun.
Absolutely.
When you buy your second gun, you already looking at your third gun, and you ain't even unpacked that second gun yet. Before you do all that, after you get that first one, take that class. Learn the fundamentals. All right, now before you drop another $300 to $700 on that second gun, take a defensive class. So learn how to run your gun from concealment if that's how you're gonna carry it. Learn how to shoot and move and get off the X, and understand there's more to just pulling that gun out. The gun ain't an intimidation thing. It ain't something you don't shoot warning shots. I mean, there's a lot to learn. Your education has to keep going. What you learn when you own a gun, if you're a responsible human being, is that it's a lot of responsibility. You've got a lot to learn, and we need to all do that. And then we need to fight for it. Because there's people out there talking about, because you got a 20-something round handgun that you carry on you right now, right? In Jersey, they limit that to 10 rounds because you don't need that. Well, who's telling me what I need? How you know what I need? How you know what I need? How many people break into your house? Because I had a coworker, 6 dudes broke into his house. 6 dudes broke into his house because his nephew bought a car at a Marshall auction, and he didn't know it belonged to a local drug dealer, so people thought it was him.
Oh no.
Now his family, who owned restaurants and worked their butt off, now all in the living room, tied up, and the dude talking about where the drugs at, and they have no idea what they were talking about.
Oh wow. And
So,
they probably all had at least 30 in the clip in the
oh
magazine. In the magazine.
yeah, there you go. Good save. But my thing is, how many people break into your house? How many rounds do you have to lay down?
I've always wanted to ask this question to somebody who lived in one of these states where you can only have 10 rounds. Now, do they limit the amount of magazines that you can carry?
Oh, you can get as many mags as you can, but
yeah,
dude, I don't want to be reloading when I need to be shooting.
I know. I just always wondered if they limited the amount of ammo that you can have on your person.
No, but understand that they also, again, want to push this thing where you registered with the Attorney General's office because you own too much ammo. What's too much? What's too much?
That's why it's so important for the things that you do, the things that all of us, when we get on here and we talk about 2A, yes, it's fun. Like JohnnyJSnow, he does, 2A his way. You do 2A your way. I do 2A my way. But it's always good to have these conversations. Like you said, people don't want to sit up here and be listening to this kind of stuff all day long. But it's good to have these conversations and not run away from these conversations and have those hard talks about what are we going to do. Clearly, people have questions because we have questions in the chat about it. But what I wanted to ask about was I want to take it back, as far as diversity shoots. So I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, and I think it's needed. Diversity shoots is definitely needed to let people know that we do see that, people can be intimidated by going into the range and stuff like that. But in reality, I'm out here in Texas, Houston, Texas. My reality is when I go to the range, yes, it's a whole bunch of white men. And it's, I go to different ranges. Anyway, my point I'm trying to make is I haven't yet, knock on wood, experienced anyone who has been racist or anyone who has, not been helpful. I haven't experienced someone being mean, other than the people that work there. They tell you, yeah, you're shooting too fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
that's annoying. Yeah. Look.
But it is out there.
Dudes, I'm one of those dudes that was never intimidated by anybody. All right. When I was in the Marine Corps and I went to Japan, I grabbed the English Japanese dictionary and just walked off base. I was like,
don't tell me you know Japanese.
Yeah.
Konnichiwa.
Nihongo wakata. Anyway, okay. I was like, I'm gonna take this dictionary.
Not gonna even join in on that.
I'm like, we were in Iwakuni, which is mainland Japan. It's an hour away from Hiroshima, where we dropped the bomb. But I was like, I'm a black dude. Worst case scenario, I get lost. They go, he black guy. I know where he belongs. Take him to the base. It's not like they're gonna go, he must be from around here somewhere. No. So I was like, worst case scenario, I start crying like a baby, talking about I'm lost, and they just take me to the base and drop me off at the front. So I've never been intimidated by anything, but I understand some people are.
Yeah.
So when I hosted diversity shoot, I'm like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna see my black face out front. And again, I'm not super serious. We can talk. We can have a conversation. I'm that uncle that you can talk to, and we're going to have some guns. And nobody going to say nothing effed up to you because I'm there. And then the people that know me, because again, 2015 is when it started. I started advocacy in 2012. So I had 3 years of work. I was working with these groups. I knew these people. So when I said I was hosting an event, the people that I worked with for the last 3 years said, we want to be a part of this. Now I was talking to my coworker, and he's like, "Well, how did it happen? Did a lot of black people come out at first?" I was like, "Well, as guests, first people came out with 4 black dudes. You know what I'm saying? The very first one. They knew each other, but they came out. And then the state police tried to infiltrate my event because it was the Black History Month diversity shoot. Very
Shout
first
out to
one.
Black History Month. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is Black History Month.
Go ahead.
And that's when I had the event.
Uh-huh.
And they tried to infiltrate my event with a black cop. Talk about Roy sent me. I'm like, dude, I know 23 people on the internet. Who's this? Then he had to come true that he was with the New Jersey State Police Firearms Unit. And they sent him to check it out in civilian clothes. He was trying to blend in. And I'm like, blend in, dude. Those four cats know each other, and there's only me and my partner Sean here, so there ain't no blending in. What's going on?
Wow.
And I was like, look, we're here to educate people on New Jersey state law. You with the firearms division? Let's talk. And that's what we did. And then we went to the range, and my man pulled out a freaking FPI 1911. And this is back when they cost like $3,500. And we shot all his ammo. All his ammo. But that was the first event. And what happened is we had more white people come out to the event after that because it was successful, and they wanted to meet other people that didn't look like them and introduce them to firearms. And then all of a sudden, Hispanic people started coming, Asian people started coming, Black people started coming, Muslims started coming, LGBTQ started coming. I mean, it just grew when people heard about it because I go on different shows all the time, but then they saw the pictures from the event. And they see dudes shooting MP5 full auto because that happened in Pennsylvania with the Heritage Guild. They came through with us. And they were like, hey, come here, you can fire full auto. We shot events in Jersey at gun for hire range where people see you shooting 50 cals. You know what I'm saying? Shotgun. I had my friends come out and bring their hot guns. Last year, Smith & Wesson came out to one of the events and had a port. Or in Jersey, he came out and had a port with modern material. He brought all of his rifles. Sig came out and had a port. So now companies are participating in that. You need to get in on this. So if you want a diversity shoot where you from, you contact your Second Amendment groups and tell them they contact Tony at Diversity Shoot. We'll fly out. They flew me out to Omaha. Nebraska Firearms Owners Association flew me out to Omaha summer last year. We had 4 events in one day. We got with the range. We got with the Second Amendment group. We brought in lawyers. They had speeches. They talked about what it is. They had Q&As. I did not know there were so many Black people in Omaha, Nebraska. So they came out, and we were talking, man, and we were talking, and they were asking questions. And I'm like, look, these people are here. It works for the range because the range gets new people that wouldn't have walked in the front door in the first place. It works for the Second Amendment groups to participate because now you're introducing people to the Second Amendment groups, and the Second Amendment groups introduce themselves to people. Now it's not what can they do for me. Who are they? Who's my Second Amendment group in the area? Right here. Because he's going to come up and talk for 5 minutes and introduce himself and hand out his card. The volunteers, many of them are gun owners, but a lot of them are firearms instructors. Now you know some firearms instructors because you had a conversation. You just shot their gun for like 30, 40 rounds in the port over there.
Yeah.
You got his card. Now you're introduced to not only the community, you're introduced to the culture, you're in the gun store. They know you. They're going to be friendly because they're hosting an event. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, host our events. We push it. You know, we got the website. I got the 284E podcast to advertise. And I'm a whore when it comes to podcasting. I'll come on anybody's show and talk about it because I think it's important because we all have different audiences.
Yeah.
And as the largest pound for pound gun bunny in America, I feel it's very important that I get out there and people see me.
Look, that's funny. And Clover Tech is in here. And Clover Tech said earlier, he was talking about it was a question. He was saying some stuff earlier about why Black people don't go out to the range or whatever more often. Like we're out here. Like I didn't know it was so many Black instructors. Black folks complain about mostly white people being at the range. I can't hardly see that. Some of that falls back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let me say this. Okay, but wait, real quick.
Go ahead.
I know you, I guess, but let me say this real quick.
That's
what, because this is my question to you. Okay, so you said you grew up in a certain type of way where your parents, they had firearms and stuff like that. Clearly, it was okay. It wasn't taboo in your family. My family had firearms too, but it was taboo. You don't tell people, oh, you know, we have guns or whatever. It was like hush hush and stuff like that. So that's a lot of reasons why Clover Tech that we don't see them out there is because we got them, black people we have guns now.
Well,
but
you know,
it's not like
a lot of black
going into those places.
A lot of black people, you know, they like gangsters move in silence. You know what I mean? We don't talk about what we have. We don't talk about what we do. Yeah, just know that I'm straight. You know, and you can't let that translate into being that you don't train on it.
And that's why we have to stress so much legal,
Yeah,
so people don't be scared of it. That's what I'm trying to get to. People are like, oh, I don't want anybody to know. But it's like, why don't you want anybody to know? We out here, we're doing it legally. They need to see more of that. You know what I'm saying?
What people don't get is this: we have a lot in common. Black gun owners, white gun owners. We speak the same language, just use different words. Now, reason a lot of black people, you know, gangsters ride in silence, right? White people, I don't want my name on the list. Same exact thing. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
I don't want my name on the list. I don't want people to know I own a firearm. But here's the thing: you have to train with your firearm. You have to know the law. Now it's up to you whether you put pictures of yourself shooting a gun on your Instagram. Now, if you want it quiet, but fine, that's cool. If you don't want to be in the class picture after the class, say I don't want to be in the class. I'll take the picture. I don't need to be in the picture.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've taught people that you have no idea that they've taken my class because you don't see any proof of it anywhere on the internet. That's up to you, regardless of your race. I totally get it if you don't want your coworkers, because in Jersey we have a lot of closeted gun owners, people that can't let it be known because of their job, because of their social situation, they own a firearm. Don't let that stop you from taking classes and learning to use it and learning the freaking laws.
Let me ask you a question. All right. Say you have somebody who is kind of anti-gun, and you want to try to introduce them so you can break it in. How would you go about doing that?
All right. One, you have to know what you're talking about. So you can't just continue repeating bumper sticker stuff. Cold dead hands, 1775. This is your right. This is your. You have to talk to them and go, all right, well, what are you worried about? Look, let's have a conversation. What do you worry about the most with a firearm? And then find a common ground with them now. Now, if they're one of those people who's just going to believe every lie told to them, hey, dude, I can't help you. All right, you're gonna believe what other people tell you. You're my friend. You're my relative. You're my coworker. You know me. I have no reason to lie to you. Nothing financially. I'm going to take you to the range if you want to go. That does not help me financially with 60, 70, 80 cents a round. All right? Understand. Understand. I'm willing to share this really expensive hobby with you and introduce you to it. But you want to believe what you hear on CNN, let's have a conversation. And it might not happen today. Understand, you ain't going to turn this person around today. But a lot of the people that didn't want to hear you in 2019 and 2020, they're calling you up. Where can I get ammo? Where can I get a gun? How do I buy that?
That is true.
You have to lay that groundwork today. You lay that foundation now. You may be able to build a house on it tomorrow or next year. So no, just put it out there that you're going to be friendly and not attack them. Do not try to turn a person in day. That ain't going to be you. You can't do that. You ain't that good. If you were that good, you sell Amway.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
This is dope. This was dope. This was dope. I mean, Johnny Snow, I don't know. Let's go into the chat real quick and see if we have any questions. Do y'all have any questions that y'all want to ask real quick? I know we were like tapping in and out. Again, I appreciate what you do, Mr. Simon. I really do. What's y'all questions? Hey, Brian. I gotta, Hey, Twizzle, what y'all doing?
Well, here's one. Tag Bruiser said he get funny looks at the range. I get funny looks at the range too, because I normally, when I go to the range, I have a lot of bags. So everybody's staring at me trying to figure out what I have, and then when I pull my guns out, I'm shaking the glass because my guns are retarded. So
that's why you getting the funny looks. Yeah, that's why you getting those looks.
My guns are retarded. But
I wear this, so people gonna look at me funny anyway. I roll in the door.
You ain't for everybody. That's right. Yes, sir.
Man.
But yeah, people gonna look at the funny dude.
I think the funny looks is, hey, let me, just look funny. I don't care. I never care what anybody. I mean, hey.
Yeah, and actually, I want to say, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Everyday shooter. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I rolled in the range. I rolled in the range with M16 A4 clones that I built that cost like $1,500. And I rolled in with a high point with $100 bill grips on it.
Hey,
Guess
You
what?
see that? You see that? Johnny
I'm
Snow?
putting rounds on target. I took that high point out to 100 yards, shot a 7-inch group
okay.
with the handgun, not the rifle, the handgun. 40, because high points are garbage and they can't hit anything. I shot a group this big, watched my YouTube. I actually did it real time, walked out to the target. And I'm fat. I don't like walking 100 yards on camera. You know what I was breathing like? Sound like an asthmatic. So
That's funny.
yeah, so it's the most boring video on YouTube, but yeah, the hand size group at 100 yards. People gonna look at you funny. People gonna do you, man. Don't worry about them. As long as you being safe, do you. Actually talk to them. What's up, man? This is what's going on.
Yeah.
Because it might be they've never seen that gun, or they got one just like it, or who knows. Just don't assume.
Do you let other people shoot your guns at the range?
Man, diversity shoot started out with me letting other people shoot my gun. Yeah, 100%. That's how you make that move, man. That's how you get people over, and you get them into other things.
Well,
Now
I want to say this right quick. People that's in the chat, if you let other people at the range shoot your guns, let us know. Tell us whether or not you are open with your firearms while you at the range.
You don't have to be if you don't want to be. Understand that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's some of the coolest stuff I ever met. I shot a little Beretta a Colt 25 that's about this big. I shot at the range. I shot a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. I shot a actual Civil War 4570 trapdoor at the range.
Wow.
So this is just people that I didn't know from Adam, but they were like, "Hey, want to shoot this?"
Yeah.
Most people are like that. Most people at the range are like that. Because I'm nosy. I be walking down there and be like, "What you shooting?" They be like, "You want to try it?" Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most people, when I'm shooting mine, they don't even come over. I don't know. I guess I'll be looking.
That's because you're shooting fireballs the size of this room.
Because you knocking windows down, you knocking dividers down, putting holes in the wall.
I people over there looking at this stuff like,
what's wrong with my head?
I need two of these.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, but the thing is that a lot of people just look at me like I'm crazy. I guess I'm black man, big black man with dread. And it's like, but I'm nice. I'm not mean. I get intense when I'm shooting because I get into the zone because I like doing it. But I'm not a mean guy. So it's like I'm approachable.
Every time you go to the range, it doesn't have to be meet and greet day either. Like sometimes I go there and I want to work on a skill set. I want to draw from concealment. Don't tell nobody. And I want to see where that first round go because that's called a self-defense scenario. You don't get a second one. So yeah, what did I do? All right, I nailed that sucker, or I missed it. All right, now I got to work on that. It's not social butterfly time. Sometimes it is. I break out the high point. I break out the high point with the laser and the light and the this and the that. That little, what do we call it? That P90 you thought you saw I had? That was a Ruger 1022, but in the kit. I've used that to introduce kids to firearms.
Like a P90.
The one that you showed earlier?
Yeah.
That's the Ruger 1022 in the kit. And I used that to introduce children to firearms.
They love Call of Duty.
Boom. Call of Duty. And I picked up a friend of mine is an Olight rep, and he sent me Olight, and I asked for the one with the laser on it. He says, "Why?" Kids love that. Because it looks like the stuff in the video game. So a red dot, a little flashlight. It's got all the cool stuff, and now I'm teaching them how to shoot a 10-22, so it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. But I've
Okay.
taught them safety, firearms fundamentals, marksmanship fundamentals, and it's just fun. So
Mhm.
when you introduce people to firearms and you let them shoot your guns, that's part of spreading the culture and letting them know, hey, this is a decent dude. My sister, she's 30 something years old or 30. But when she
Mhm.
was coming up, she was like, how do I find a decent dude? I'm like, well, one way is one, to avoid cops. And two, to, I work with law enforcement, so trust me,
Uh-huh.
avoid cops. And two, go to the range. She was like, why? I was like, because dude had to have a background check.
Uh-huh.
It's an expensive hobby. So at least you know he ain't a criminal. And he might not have any money, but at least he had money enough to buy guns.
Yeah, yeah.
It's up to you to figure out
Man.
how to get him to spend the money on you, but because I got TVs to buy. Um,
Right, right. Well, Clover Tag, he has a question because I can't read that.
hmm.
He
Which
said, would it be a bad idea to start some type of minority race program, sort of like Blazing Sword? He said he shot with gay folks that found me over several times. Always fun.
um, See, you have NAGA, you have the
yeah, nigga.
Buffalo Soldiers, you have different groups out there already that people can find. My whole thing is, if you have one of those groups, come to my place and introduce your group to these people.
Mhm.
I look at my thing as a workshop. It's an umbrella thing. I'm looking for groups to come to my thing and talk about what they do. We need to use each other to rise up. It's like a rising tide raises all ships. So
Absolutely.
I
Mhm.
have zero competition in this thing, dude. If you have a black group, if you have a Hispanic group, if you have a gay group, because I work with Operation Blazing Swords. My T-shirt with me in the bubble bath that goes to Operation Blazing Sword. Half of the money does.
Mhm.
Um, so my thing is, I'm willing to work with anybody so we can raise this money and do this work and expose ourselves to different communities.
Yeah.
So Asians, Latinos,
Yes.
let's do this. Because once we make the Second Amendment apolitical, they'll stop attacking.
Mhm.
What we need to do is make them realize this is poison, regardless of your political party. Mess with my second. This is like messing with your other rights, man. Um, they put the full court press on us since the
Mhm.
1930s, trying to get rid of this right. Why would the government want to get rid of your ability to defend yourself? Oh,
Mhm.
because it also allows you to defend yourself against the government.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
tinfoil hat. No, it's called a history book.
Well, let me say this. Like there are people out there that do not want to take the vaccine, and in America, you can just say no. Other countries, they round you up, put you in internment camps, throw you in. But those other countries, the citizens aren't allowed to be armed. So there's a fine line between having the right to protect yourself and being held hostage by a tyrannical government. And we got to realize that we do have the right to protect ourselves, and that puts the brakes on a lot of things that the government would try to do. Because we do have more guns than like I believe like a lot of other countries combined.
Yes,
America
we do. We do. We
is
do.
just
I was just listening to shooting stuff Australia,
mm-hmm,
and they were talking about they are trying to introduce or they have already introduced an age limit
mm-hmm.
on owning firearms. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh my goodness. But a lot of things that they have that's going on over there, I see it, you know what I'm saying, in different states over here,
Mm-hmm.
especially California. That's my question. Mr. Simon, who has the worst laws? California or New York?
California, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Washington
All of
State,
them.
Oregon, they all in a competition to see who can come up with the dumbest, sickest laws to take your rights away.
My
Understand
Lord.
this: there can be no compromise.
Mm-hmm.
There can be no compromise. Every gun law is an infringement. Every gun law is built on the foundation of racism. So it's built on the foundation of denying somebody the ability to
Mm-hmm.
stop others from pushing their will upon them without their consent. All
Yeah.
right? It started in this country in 1620. That's the first laws was Virginia. In Virginia, the Virginia legislators that celebrated 400 years of continuous democratic government were the
Mm-hmm.
first one that passed a law, and it was in 1620, saying that blacks couldn't own firearms because they didn't want slaves arming themselves. So this is the
Mm-hmm.
foundation this is built this from. So we were the beta test on everybody else. So understand, there is no safe amount of oh, well, maybe if you only have 15 rounds. No, that's an infringement. All it is taking your rights away little by little, and they've been
Little
doing
by
it.
little, chipping away.
There
Exactly.
is no one's here to help you. The government
Right.
is not here to help you. The government will not stop this because it's the government that's behind it. All parties. When Trump got elected, for 2 years, the Republicans had both houses and the presidency, and there was no pushback against gun laws at all. They didn't pass the hearing suppress. They didn't pass the hearing safety act, which was
They actually took
legalizing suppressors.
off the table.
They pulled bump stocks off the table, and they also didn't do anything about concealed carry nationwide.
Yeah.
So they did nothing. There is no political party that's really on your side. Republicans are just less anti-gun than Democrats. They're not pro-gun. They're just less anti-gun than Democrats.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to us to make all of them. So we need to leave the Second Amendment thing alone, and we can be on the ass.
Yeah. 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 Well, with that
Man.
being said, we didn't hit our little time that we had said. It has been a
A
pleasure.
pleasure.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. We're,
And
we're definitely gonna have to do this again.
heck
Definitely,
yeah.
man. I
Heck
appreciate
yeah.
being on, man. Yeah, so bring me on. You can do the IG thing. You can do that. Because
Okay.
you said that's Friday, that's Wednesday, right? IG is Wednesday. This is Thursday. Is that how
Oh
y'all
well,
do
no,
it?
Wednesdays and Thursdays.
we do Sandy channel on Wednesday, and we do my channel on Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's what it is.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say I appreciate you for being uncomfortable for us, right? In the beginning, because you're that had to be uncomfortable there. Going
What?
in there and making that speech in front of all them people.
Oh, that? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Dude.
Thank
Oh
you
my
for being
God.
uncomfortable so we can be comfortable, okay? I
Yep.
appreciate that.
All
And
right.
All right,
yeah,
we
keep
got
doing the good work.
together everyday shooter. Yeah, I had to holler at my homeboy right quick. We definitely gotta get together and shoot.
You go shooting with Everyday Shooter, I'm gonna be mad because you know Everyday Shooter right here in Houston.
He right there in Houston. Oh,
Yeah. Oh well, never
y'all,
mind. I see.
Georgia is trying to pass a law like Texas, right?
Which one?
The
Open carry
Constitution
Constitution. Huh?
here, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So, that's maybe we'll get some of that Texas love. You know what I mean? Yeah, I hope they put it up for a vote because I believe we'd get it if it was put up for a vote. You know,
You got to push it. You got to be politically. You got to get
yeah.
in on it. You got to make some phone calls. That's when it's important to
Really,
know
truth
your
be
local group.
told, I know I said we was gonna stop, but I gotta say something. Right now, it is difficult to get your gun license because they're using COVID as an excuse to
Yep.
push you getting your gun license out 6 months, 8 months, 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just ridiculous how they are keeping your right away from you. So if they did pass the constitutional carry, then it's like, okay, that's how you let us have our rights.
But
But
what is it? Right delayed is a right denied. They're
yeah.
playing games with the rights. You do it here in Jersey. Legally,
How is it
legally,
a
they
right
only
if
supposed
you
to have
need a
30
permit?
days. Was that?
How is it a right if you need a permit?
Yeah.
Mm.
And then they can take their time getting it to you.
Mhm.
Now, in Jersey, it's 30 days, right? They have 30 days to do your background check, get your firearms ID card to you, or approve your pistol purchase permit. How are you telling me it takes a year in Jersey City?
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
FBI says the background check takes at most 4 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Here in Georgia, I'm actually in Meridian, Mississippi right now. But
really? I was
yeah.
stationed there.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
was stationed
I had to do some over at Nahiola, but that's that. But what I was going to say is that in Georgia, you don't have to wait. anything. You see a gun on the shelf you like, you can buy it if you have a gun license. Now, once you have your gun license, is you can go ahead and get whatever you want to get. But if you don't have a gun license, you have to go through the process, and go through, and I think it'll take like up to 3 days. And if nothing comes back within 3 days, you'll get a phone call like you can come pick your gun up. So we don't have to go through none of that 30-day stuff, none of that. Any what you said 60 here in Texas.
That's what I asked him. I said, what's 60 days? Because I don't know what 60 days. Maybe to get your license back.
Oh,
is that what you're talking about, everyday shooter?
He's probably, you don't need license no more there, do you?
Not anymore,
we don't
man.
need that anymore.
Yeah.
Concealed processing time. He's talking about for the license. That's how long it takes for the license to come back.
Oh, you don't need a license now, but it's good to have one. I really think it's good to have a license, as in you work. Now, I don't think that is necessary, but I think if you go through the extra effort to get the background checks, to get the education, if you're involved in a self-defense shooting, you've gone through extra effort to educate yourself and be a safe firearms carrier. In the eyes, I feel, in the eyes of the court and your lawyers who use that. That's the only reason I think that's important for you to go that extra step. But necessary? No.
Another reason is, it's good to have a license because states have a reciprocity. So if you leave Texas, you don't have a license. You were good in Texas, but wherever you go, you're gonna catch it. So, and it's also good to know what states honor your gun license. So you definitely need to.
Especially before you go up.
Okay, Utah, Connecticut, Florida. I just did different ones because there wasn't that much. You didn't have to have a requirement to live in that state or residency requirement. So I think those help in the eyes of the court, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being a good licensed good guy. Somehow people believe that. I have a license, so somehow that makes it better. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Look, it looks good.
Black Poindexter, he was saying that the USCCA has a good app that show you reciprocity. Let you know, like.
Hold on, let me throw another Second Amendment thing out there.
What's that?
Second Amendment thing that most people don't think about: knife rights. Knife Rights is also a Second Amendment organization. They've worked with us. They've donated stuff to us. They also have an app to tell you what knives are legal in what state, and it's free. So Knife Rights is another Second Amendment organization. I wanted to throw that out there because
Knife Rights?
Knife Rights. Knife Rights, yep.
Knife Rights.
So that's another thing. Again, it's free, and a lot of us don't know about. So you end up having a knife that may be illegal in the jurisdiction you live in.
Wow.
Just know the stuff, bro, because New York was dirty with it. New York you can't have a knife that you can open with one hand. But what they were doing was the cops would do the stop and frisk thing and pat you down, or however the heck they all of a sudden happen to need to pat you down. And they would take your knife out that you have to have two hands to open, but they try to open it, and then they call another cop and he'd try to open it. And they've tried like 11 different cops. And if one cop can flick it open, that the knife is illegal and you're getting locked up. That's 100%. That's dirt. That is dirt. And Knife Rights fight that kind of thing. And they're pretty much more successful than most Second Amendment firearms do. Because they get a lot of laws changed. So check out Knife Rights. Just Google it, see the work they do. Good dudes, and they're fighting for our rights, and they don't get a lot of props. So I try to share a lot of stuff they do because they put alerts out and they win lawsuits. They win lawsuits all the time.
Yeah.
Man, that's nice. You gave us Black Point, absolutely. You gave us so much good information, and we definitely need to have these kind of conversations more often.
Yeah,
we appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, man. I know y'all got to do something.
Definitely appreciate you coming.
But yeah, have me on. We can talk about stuff. Hey, my memory ain't that bad. Like Supreme Court cases, I was close with them. But look them up and find out about them, because the more you know, the less they can pull wool over your eyes.
Exactly.
All right. So when
you can put some pressure on them when you informed. Put that pressure on them.
Yeah. Like when Biden said something about you couldn't own anything back in the day. You couldn't own a cannon. Actually, yeah, you could.
Yes, you could.
Yes, you could. You could own a cannon back in the day. You could own almost anything you wanted. Again, up until like 1936, you
Yeah.
could own anything you wanted. You could own suppressors. You know how much a suppressor cost when they first came out in the early 1900s? $7.
Mm.
Dang. How in the world we went
$7
from there to this?
because they put a $200 tax stamp on it.
Oh.
Now you ain't gonna pay $207 for a suppressor in 1915 or 1936. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So they added those fees to discourage you owning these things. And
And
Did
the
if
they
you
do
thing,
know,
that through the N? What is that?
thing
The
is, the thing is,
NFA?
yep,
what,
NFA.
what I was going to say is the thing is a suppressor would be great for home defense to where you're not blowing your eardrums out trying to protect your house. You know, it's like, you know, they don't want you to, you know, it's the things are backwards the way they do things. You know, and it's
They've
like,
convinced you everything about a gun and gun culture is bad, and you're a
mhm,
bad guy or a cop. And I'm like, wait a
Hmm.
minute, no, man, because I grew up watching Shaft, dude. I know
mhm,
I'm a good guy and I can own a gun. You know what I'm saying? I grew
Okay.
up watching that stuff. And I'm like, I ain't a bad person. I love my family. And I have this thing to protect my family with. I
Hmm.
love me. I have to go to work, come home at the end of the day. Um, I
absolutely.
worked in the jacked up city, dude. Back in 2021, there was a rumor going around that all 50 states were going to have 2A protests on the same day. And they said
Mm,
they were going to be armed. In Jersey, they were going to be armed. Well, I know every Second Amendment group in Jersey. And all of us were like, nobody doing nothing here. What are you talking about? Oh, the
yeah.
FBI said it was happening in all 50 states. Then I
Mm,
discovered that they shut down the state. They said no state workers, all state workers told to stay home that day, except where I work.
mm,
I'm like, wait a minute. You thought there was a legitimate threat that you shut down the state government, but you didn't tell any of us to work here? Again, nobody care about you. You own your own. Remember that. They
yeah.
shut
Okay.
down state government, but didn't tell us.
Yeah.
Mm.
Don't
Well,
buy into it, Dirk. Nobody love you. You own your own.
yeah. Yeah.
Get strapped, get
I
educated.
always tell people all the time that the police are a reactionary force. You are your own first responder. You know,
100%. I
yeah,
say it all the time. You are your own first responder.
Absolutely.
yeah,
The
yeah,
police show up to do the paperwork, dog.
yep,
Um,
yep, yep.
ask the cop how many crimes they stopped in their progress. Ask the cop how many crimes they stopped in progress. Very few. That's a
Hmm.
very,
unicorn crap.
very few.
Very
Hmm.
Yeah.
few.
Man, what
Well,
a mess.
it has definitely been a pleasure.
It
Definitely.
has.
All right, get off this thing, man. You know we can keep talking all night.
I'll be
All night.
talking all night too. I'll
Y'all
be
check
talking
out
all night.
check out that.
I got to drive all the way back to Georgia in the morning.
Oh
All
So
Lord.
right.
Check
yeah,
out Diversity Shoot. I put
yeah. Check it out. Check it out.
the link in the chat, and his IG is in the chat. Go check him out. We
And
appreciate all the great
everybody
work.
go check out Santee TV.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Definitely.
Check me out.
check her out.
Oh,
And like we said, it's gonna be Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesday on Santee TV, Thursdays right here. All right.
right.
So hey, I really did enjoy this. Really did enjoy this.
Absolutely.
And
Big
thanks
dog.
everybody for showing up. Thanks everybody for showing up.
Do you have any final words though? You have any final words? Anything you want to tell us?
Yeah. All right, definitely. Listen, you want to support our mission, go to diversityshoot.com. We have the PayPal, we have the GoFundMe, we got the swag. Any of it helps us fight the fight here in Jersey. Definitely. And if you have a local 2A group, get together, talk to them, find out if they can have me fly out. We can set up dates, we can advertise, we can talk about it on multiple podcasts. Let's get this going. Make 2022 that year you get involved in your rights and fighting for your rights. And whatever level you feel comfortable with, but get out there. Again, I can't even remember what I said the first time. I lived through it. You know what I'm saying? You'll be all right. You'll stutter, you'll stammer, you'll probably say dumb stuff, but you know what? You did it.
Yeah.
And that's more than 99% of your friends will do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all be safe.
Mhm.
Y'all be safe. Thank you.
All
Good
right.
evening, y'all. All right.